Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Your Next Business Bestie. My name is Jen Wayborhart, and I'm your host. This podcast is all about introducing you to the people in my community that I think you should know, either because of their business or their story, or a little bit of both, because entrepreneurship can be really, really lonely, and we all need people that we can lean on, that we can celebrate with. And I am super excited for this week's guest, Miss Avery. What is your last name going to be when you get married? That was a total
Currently it's
ADD.
Williams, but it's going to be Mahoney. So
Mahoney. Oh yeah,
yes,
I
we
did
are
know that from
debating.
your save the date. Yeah.
Yes, and we are
Um.
debating what the new business will be.
Oh yeah, that's
New
right.
name,
That's
yes.
hard. That's hard. Okay, we'll get there. I always get ahead of myself. Well, Avery and I have known each other, I think, 2 years ish.
2 years-ish. Yeah, a year and a half at
Ish.
least, I'd say. Yeah.
Okay, so we met when I was teaching yoga at a yoga studio that no longer exists in Colorado Springs. But Avery came and took some of my classes, but she did a photo shoot for the studio. And that was, I think, the first time we met. And it was so fun. A good friend of mine, Liz, was there too. But since then, let's see, you did our engagement photos, you did our wedding photos. We've already talked about, oh, you did my branding shoot
Yes.
this spring rather. Yeah, so we've done a lot of work together in a year and a half, 2 years
Yeah.
ish. Which I kind of just skipped over, but yes, Avery is a photographer here in the Colorado Springs area. I think you're the most local. Well, Tara's local. I haven't had that many local guests on the show so far, which is really funny. Like it's been
Yeah.
people all over the country. But yeah, Avery, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you. Yes, I'm very excited to be here and happy that you're doing this.
Yeah. Well, let's start with the basics. How long have you been doing photography? What got you into photography?
Yeah, honestly, doing it for fun. Started in high school, stole my mom's camera, would go to coffee shops, dress up cute with my friends, and then when I graduated high school, I wanted my own camera for college for my Instagram to look aesthetic. And then I joined a sorority and I took it to all the events. And a few of the seniors started saying like, "Hey, will you do my grad photos?" And started paying me to do that. And so I definitely my first easily I'd say year and a half, 2 years of photography was all grads when I was back in Texas. And then of course you start doing couples, but
Yep.
professionally about 4 years.
Well, what sorority were you in?
I was a tri-delt.
A tri-delt. I was an Alpha
Yeah.
Phi. I don't think I
Yes. I did
ever
not
knew that.
graduate. I did not graduate as a tri-delt though. I only did it for I think 2.5, 3 years when COVID hit and everything. I just kind of left. So
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, and I guess that's a fun fact too, is we're both from Texas. I grew up in Texas. I've been here since 2018, and you only moved here a couple years ago. Is that right?
yeah, July 4th. So super soon is 2 years. So
Okay, so we
2022.
must have met right after
Yeah, I
you
guess
moved
6
here
months
then.
in. Yeah, I think we did the shoot in January at the yoga studio.
I can't believe
Or
we've
right.
only known each other a year and a half. That's
Yeah,
bizarre. That's
yeah, I
yeah.
know. Feels longer.
Um, right. Okay, so for fun, for capturing, and so where's your business gone from there? So we talked about couples, but so
Yes,
what do
yeah.
you like to do
And
now?
then during the Texas heat, I was ready to get out. And I had started doing some small backyard weddings in Texas. But we chose Colorado Springs to do the elopements and have the gorgeous views. So moving here was absolutely the best decision business wise. But yeah, so I mainly am doing weddings, elopements, engagements, and I still do families and maternities, but the focus has definitely changed to couples and anything couples related.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I would say whenever anybody mentions Garden of the Gods and elopement, you are the first person that comes to mind.
Thank
It's funny
you.
because I have been here for, 3 times as long as you have, but where we did our photos for almost a year ago, I guess it was last
Yeah.
July. I had never been to that part of Garden of the Gods, which is so funny because
Yeah,
I've
the High
spent
Point Overlook. Yeah.
so much time there. But what do you love about what you do?
I definitely love the entire process of when they inquire to delivering their photos and getting their reactions. I think I just work really well with meeting people, communicating with them. I'm very quick to reply, which most of my clients are always very happy. That's a comment I always get immediately. But yeah, I just love hearing their story and capturing moments and things that are important to them, whatever it could be,
Oh,
and just being a safe space for people to be themselves and not feel like awkward, because so many people don't like being comfortable in front of the camera. So
Yeah.
for me to be able to be somebody that gives them that experience is, I think, the best part. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
my husband is definitely one of those people
Yeah.
that hates the camera. And we're already
Yes.
talking about doing like an anniversary shoot with you at Painted Minds, like a witchy
Fabulous.
shoot. So I think I've basically told him he just needs to accept that he's
Yeah.
going to be in front of the camera often.
Yeah.
So
Well, at least
it is
he's
what it
used to
is.
me now. So yeah.
Right. That's true. That he
Yeah.
was so nervous that first time.
Yeah.
But we had so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah.
I think for me, like on like the logistical side, the more like masculine energy side of it, like for me, your shoots are really quick. Like that's
Yeah.
always so impressive to me. I mean, even my branding shoot, I think we only took like 45 minutes or so,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
And I had 3 outfits and
Yep.
we took a million, I don't even know, you gave me a million photos back.
Yeah.
And
Always over
then
deliver.
right. And then the quick turnaround. That's huge
Yeah.
too, because I mean, and there's so much artistry in photography. Like it's something that I've thought about doing for a long time, but I don't need
Yeah.
to, add something else to my world.
Yep.
But so like there's so much work that goes into editing. But like my wedding, for instance, you had
Yeah.
me sneak peeks the next morning. Like,
Yep.
and
Yep.
especially like a big event like a wedding or engagement photos or maternity photos, I'm sure. Like sitting around just waiting and hoping that you like how the photos came out, it's
Yeah.
so you can build so much anxiety in that time, just like hoping.
Well, and I think the reason of course, the more busy I get, I am definitely having to extend weddings for sure, just a little bit. But yeah, when I took my grad photos in high school, I was shocked that it was going to take 6+ weeks to get those back.
Ah,
I couldn't even imagine it. So I just hated that. I love the photos, but I hated that experience. So it's like just important to me to know that the clients really are on the top of my list. And yes, I can still have a lifestyle and whatever. And definitely some weeks I'm like, oh my gosh, why do I have such a quick turnaround time? But I think it's important, at least for me, that I continue that to keep it as a part of my brand. And you'll just know that like it'll be max a week and you'll get your photos actually in 3 or 4 days.
yeah,
Because if I think the gallery's done and it's consistent with my editing and it's good to go, I mean, why wait? And if I do
right.
edit it quicker, but yeah, it's just important to me yeah, or even when people get sneak peeks like 2 weeks later, I'm like, that's still, I want it the next day. We just got married last night. I want to see it right now, so
Right.
I want my clients to still be in that phase and be excited for their photos right after they happen. So
Yeah, and I
yeah.
mean, things like there's a big movement towards unplugged weddings, for instance, of people not
Yes.
allowing anyone else to take photos, which we
Mhm.
did during our ceremony. Our whole
Yep.
wedding was very non-traditional in general, but I did ask for people to put their phones away during the ceremony. So the only photos that we have during the ceremony are from you.
Yeah.
And like you want to keep that high, for lack of a better
Yep.
term, going. It was funny because people are like, you get the wedding blues the day after because all of this build up.
Build up.
And
Yeah.
it's so true. Like after I was like, what do I do now? But and then like you keep your clients up to date using Instagram, of course, is where most
Yep.
people can find you for sure with
Mhm.
where you are in order of editing. So then people know
Yep.
like who are your favorite people to work with though? What are you loving to do right now?
Like client wise, you
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say like I've gotten more into bigger weddings and I do, just being more comfortable because it's a lot of pressure and, you have the slightest fear of, oh God, just what if something bad happens or whatever. But so I really am enjoying weddings where I did kind of fear them for a while, to be honest. But
Yeah.
overall, so it's definitely my elopement couples, just because I'm so one-on-one with them, even if it's a micro, super small wedding. It's just I get to connect with them and I really get to be completely involved in their day and just kind of helping make sure things run smoothly. And yeah, and I just get to really see their vision and be a part of it the whole time rather than like I'm just capturing photos throughout the
Ah,
day of a busy wedding. So yeah, probably and of course it's almost always the bride I'm in communications with, but
right.
yeah, so probably my elopement brides are probably my favorite.
Yeah, you do a lot of elopements and a lot of
Yes.
cool elopements too. There was one
Yeah.
you did recently where it looked like the cover of an album.
Oh,
I can't
thank you.
remember. Yeah, I can't remember who it was. I'll have to find it and share it in the show notes when we talk about
Yeah.
this. But so before college, were you taking photos at all, or did your interest
Yeah,
spark then?
it was just for fun, and of course I have my Polaroid everywhere, which I now incorporate into my weddings and my
Oh yeah,
shoot.
we didn't even talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I always do
Yeah.
complimentary Polaroids because I love them, and I everything's so digital and people don't even get prints all the time now.
Yeah.
So I just like being able to offer a Polaroid because and some people don't even know that I do it, so it's a nice surprise for them to take it home right after the shoot. Same thing, keep
Yeah.
on that high of yes, we just got our photos done. They get to see it immediately. But yeah, I've always had an eye for it. I'd say like
Mhm.
just even my phone before I started using my mom's old camera. Yeah, I see things and I get the cool angles and so yeah, I was always just like, hey, want to just go get dressed up and take photos? Like
Yeah.
that's what I would do in high school. So
What's funny, you'll be so proud. I don't dare move my computer right now, but right
yeah.
here I have one of the pictures of RJ and me next to the Captain Jack sign, and
Ah,
then the picture of the three of us from the wedding. And then I have one more print from our wedding so far,
amazing.
which
Yeah,
is
it's
actually, I feel
hard
like
to,
that's pretty decent.
yeah, well, when you see it on your phone and on your Instagram all the time, you kind of don't feel like you need to print it and
Yeah.
also look at it at your house because you're like, it's right here, easy.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good about printing photos, but I definitely need to get more of the wedding photos. And another thing I'll say is affordability, which
Yeah.
is hard as a small business owner. Like, where is that line of being affordable but still valuing your work, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a struggle. I'm not sure it ever goes away, that we wonder about our pricing and
Yeah.
increases and all that. But I do appreciate your affordability. I
Yeah.
had branding photos done a few years ago by a stellar photographer who unfortunately passed away. I actually can't remember if it was earlier this year or late last year. But I spent like $5,000 on those photos, and
That's crazy.
I think I got like 8 photos all said and
Yeah,
done, and
that
I
is.
got them in color and black and white, and they were
Yeah.
beautiful. Don't get me wrong, and
Yeah, they are beautiful. Yep. Yep.
but I mean, especially like I love working with newly established small businesses, and it's
Mhm.
wonderful to have you as a resource because they can't afford, a $5,000 photo shoot for 12 photos. I
Yeah.
mean, so combine that with the turnaround time, and
Mhm.
I think that's like it's a really unique business model, especially for a photographer these days. So let's talk about that. Like, what's influenced
Yeah.
your pricing? Because I know you've seen people charging six, seven, eight
Yes.
times what you charge. So what's the
Yeah. Well, of course, everybody wants to
yeah.
make more and wants to, you know, be rich off of their prices. But, I did raise my prices back in on New Year's Day. And I
Yep.
even sent out a, $25 voucher to everyone that has used me that past year, just as like, please come back. I don't want my prices to deter you from using me. And I
Mhm.
only raised my lifestyle packages $50, and I did definitely increase my weddings because they are worth being more, and I'm still absolutely one
Absolutely.
of the most um affordable wedding photographers. But and that's actually a topic my mom and my dad actually both
Mhm.
bring up to me a lot. They're like, Avery, like, one, if you're stressed, if you're feel like you're taking on too much, you need to raise your prices and then you won't have to take on so many. And I'm like, well, it's not that I don't want to be busy. I definitely stress
Mhm.
myself out too much. But I was like, one, like how you kind of had to charge per picture is, I believe, how it
Yeah.
was for you
Yeah.
when
There was a
you
shoot
wanted
charge
more.
and then a per picture
Yep,
charge. Yeah.
that I at least for me, one, because I over deliver photos, and that is
Yes.
something I will never not do. Because one, it's like, yeah, you'd rather have too many than not enough. But what I've experienced with my mom's like, why don't you do an upcharge and only give like 10 photos and then charge more? And I said, well, I look at it as I want to be quick, I want to be efficient. I want my images to come out good, but I also want like I don't want clients to be like, well, we took this one pose, but I don't see it in the gallery. So then it's a lot more of back and forth. And then I
Hmm.
almost feel like the client won't like that experience of being
Yeah.
like annoyed with having to come back. And so when they get a gallery of more images, they like I never have, and knock on wood, but I seriously have never had a client be like, well, where's this picture? Or,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't get a nut, never. I mean, I've never had that comment. So I think like, being affordable, I definitely still could raise my prices, but I also would rather continue to book the same families
Yeah.
as they grow, at couples at like their engagement to their wedding to then their first baby to that, like just being affordable and knowing that they want to come back to me, I think is important. um and as time goes on, I will have to increase, but especially if I raise my
Totally.
wedding prices and elopement prices, why do I need to raise my lifestyle prices so much if that's kind of where I'm getting my bulk from the other? So I try to look at it
Yeah.
like weigh in. But yes, with my lifestyle ones, and most people were like, I just want a 30-minute shoot. And you said it, like, I'm quick
Hmm.
and I still over deliver and have so many poses. I've tried to slow myself down a little bit though, because I don't want people to feel like I'm being rushed. But also, I'll throw out all these poses, things, I'll be creative, whatever. And then I always end with, is there any poses, ideas I didn't do? Because I don't want people to feel like I'm just demanding things and
Right.
I might have started getting off topic, but point is just how I work and why my prices are affordable, I think just works. And I do think like, yeah, maybe I'm a little bit busier, but I like that. And I like always having new clients or being able to be referred because I am affordable. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't like,
I
I
will
would
lie.
rather book people.
Every time I refer you, I'm like, here, you should call Avery. She's really affordable, but she should raise her prices. Like literally every single time I
Yes.
refer
Well,
you.
and with the growth I've had this year, I definitely will, but and that's the best part is I did kind of start so low. And of
Mhm.
course, when I moved here, I definitely wanted to start low so I could build my clientele.
Totally.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I just think that it works for me and I'm doing fine
You're
financially,
doing
but
great.
I do know with a little bit of an increase, but same thing. It's like, even if I have those prices set, if a client comes to me and they just can't afford it and I am willing, whatever, I'm always willing to talk about it. Or they're like, we seriously want a 15-minute shoot. We don't need that many photos. Like I'm willing to work with people because it's a luxury experience that not everybody even thinks that they can get done. And so like, I love just even taking our own Christmas photos. Like it's fun. Like I want to
Yeah.
have those photos. So I want people that think they can't afford it to still reach out. Um, so I
I
like to be affordable.
I think you hit a really important point there is that photos are a luxury. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of us, like, I'm obsessed with having photos done.
Yeah.
Um, I think a lot of us forget that. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of families out there that have never had a professional photo done of them
Yeah.
with their kids. And
Yeah.
I think by you being more affordable, I still think you could raise your prices, but by
Yeah.
being willing to have those conversations, it
Yeah.
opens the doors to people who can't normally have access to it.
Yeah.
And that's not something
Yeah.
we often think about is the accessibility, the financial accessibility for something like
Mhm.
what you do. Um, so if you had to nail it down to like a couple sentences, why do you love what you do?
I love it to, like I said, work with the people here and learn about people's stories. And then, as well as they get to have the photos forever, I also get to look back on people that I have captured over the years and just see their lives. And hopefully I get to work with them again, see how they grow. But yeah, it's that end experience when they just are so in love with the photos, love working with me, leave me a review, recommend me, promote me, all that. It makes me feel good, like I'm doing it for a reason.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. I mean, photos are such like, especially like when you lose someone too, like having
yeah,
photos to look back on are such a powerful memory.
yeah,
And then beyond that, so for those of you listening, Avery and I have started working together with clients, which I'm super excited. And hopefully by the time this episode is live, we will have done our first photo shoot with a client. So we're now offering where I'm building websites and doing social media and including in my packages Avery to come take photos for the clients, along with I think I did quarterly shoots for this client, which I'm super excited about.
yeah.
And that ties into Avery and I did my branding shoot in March, I think it
I think it was
was, I
March.
want
Yeah.
to say.
Mhm.
And that was so much fun too. It was very different than any because we had done yoga, right? Because we'd done the yoga studio and then we did engagement photos, we did wedding photos, but the branding shoot was totally different. And but just, I mean, it was such a great experience because you knew my business by then. And obviously we're friends, but I know that you would do that with any client where you
Yep.
totally, you understand their brand and who they are. And like for me, I mean, we took photos of me kicked up on a couch reading my Kindle in a hoodie and leggings. And like most people might say, well, those aren't professional. Well, that's me. Like what you see is what
Yes,
you
your
get.
lifestyle, it's your brand. It's
a
yeah, it's
thousand
you.
percent. And we all, I mean, and we took pictures with tarot cards and and with my skeletons that were also in the wedding photos too, which is funny. I might have to just like start bringing the skeleton to every photo shoot we do, and we'll
I
just like
agree.
put
Secretly
him
in
in
the
the background.
background, at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I love it.
Find the
Uh,
skeleton.
I love it. So let's talk about branding shoots. Are you doing them often? I know you actually just did photos for one of my clients, Best You
Yes,
Talent
I did. Yep.
Advisors,
Yes.
which turned out great. But yeah, let's talk about that realm of your
Yeah,
business.
I've kind of done it scattered as well within all of
Hmm.
my lifestyle and actually working with clients and couples and things like that. I actually for I just stopped doing it. It was back in Texas and it was just too much travel, couldn't get there enough. But I have done social media and branding photos for a salon in Texas for counting the year I just a little over a year. I just finished for almost 2 years. So I was doing that nail salon, facials, things like that. It's super cool because I just get to be creative. I just get to,
Yeah.
okay, I'll put the products here, do this. I've done another branding shoot for actually another skin product company that also in Texas done that same thing. You get to do fun flat lays, you get to kind of use the products and do things like that. And it's same. Yeah, I'll if I know what type of company it is, I'll make a Pinterest board, I'll share it
Mhm.
with the client, go back and forth, be like, what are you envisioning? Let's put it on a board and then bring it to life. Yeah, and say whenever I did some of the yoga studio, it's like
Yep.
just what is the business? I also for my fiance's he used to be a bartender at a few bars here in the Springs, Mother Muffs and Hatch. I used to take photos of the food, kind of do the drinks. I'd go in, take photos. So it's just kind of whatever the client needs,
Cool.
I can do. But yeah, it's cool. It's definitely like, especially during slower season when it's super snowy and people don't want to be out in the snow. It's definitely a cool alternative to make money doing photography. But
Yeah.
it's also more, kind of social media involved, which, I know you think is fun.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
so I do really like it's totally different, of course, but it normally is more creative and I get to be even more creative. So yeah, I really enjoy it.
What's interesting is it's so different, but it's not if you're especially working with small businesses because like
Mhm.
with a couple, you're telling parts of their story through your photos, right?
Mhm.
And I'm obviously big on storytelling. And then with your branding shoots, you're helping them tell the brand's story.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
especially with really small businesses, mine, for example, Best You Talent Advisors, for example, like our businesses are us, like a thousand
yeah.
percent. So it's storytelling, just kind of in a different way.
Yeah, and I
Um,
actually love headshots. Headshots are fun, especially like yours, super fun and creative. I've done some for a hair salon, and she was also doing
oh
makeup.
yeah.
So those like in the salon holding the brushes, just so those are I found those fun, and I kind of tie them in with branding and product photography. But yeah, it's super cool.
Awesome. And then I know you've ventured into a new area offering boudoir photos. So fill us in.
Yes. Yeah, I've been asked a few times just to kind of do it casually, just for like friends, family, things like that. Just because a lot more goes into it. Booking a studio, most people don't want to do it in their own house. They want like a
Yeah.
bougie, looking thing. So I just kind of started. I'm like, you know what? I'm getting into a lot of weddings. I'm really enjoying doing bridals. So I kind of thought like, well, bridals also kind of boudoir. And I was like, I know there's decent money in that as well. And then I can just practice even more in working in studios and things like that. So yeah, I reached out to a makeup artist who I will be partnering. Her name's Sam. She's getting her esthetician license in the next month, I believe. And then we're going to go full strong. She'll be who I recommend first. But yeah, I reached out to her and I reached out to a model to model for me and she could have all the images. It would be no charge to her. And I did a, kind of a mock shoot and yeah, I promoted it and already immediately booked one of my past brides. I have another couple reaching out wanting to do some. So it's, I'm offering a discount to my current and past brides. So you as well,
Mm,
I know kind of talked about that. So, yeah, so yeah, it's just something, same thing. It's like when my clients tell me they're super comfortable working with me and
Yeah.
I make it easy. It just felt like something I could really do, because I make people feel comfortable, which I, definitely take into my business and my brand for sure. So yeah, offering 3 tiers, one that's kind of basic, one that also includes makeup. So the first one just is the studio and no makeup. You can kind of get that done yourself and whatever
Yeah.
you'd like in the makeup. And then one with makeup and a photo book included as well. And then I have a couple add-ons. But yeah, same thing. That could also be a totally year-round. Weather doesn't really matter. And
Right.
same thing. I just get to be creative with the client, make them feel comfortable in the experience. And yeah, and it's fun, and the photos are gorgeous. So just a cool new niche I'm trying to get into. So
Yeah, I love it. And especially I've done two boudoir shoots. Mine were with a photographer in Fort Collins who, or her episode will be live a couple weeks before yours. But comfortability is such a huge thing. Like I mean, as somebody with like extreme body dysmorphia and a history of, eating disorders and all of that, like never in a million years would I think I would do a boudoir shoot. But for
mm,
anybody listening, I 1,000% recommend doing one. It is so empowering. The first one I did was 100% just for me. I'd just gone through a breakup. And the second one was for my husband as his wedding day gift. And it was so empowering. It was like you just feel like a bombshell, even if you never really do anything but maybe print a book for them. Like it's such a cool.
yeah,
I almost feel like the boudoir shoot is one of those that the experience of the shoot is just as satisfying as the actual photos, if not more.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
um, it's so fun. So where are you doing those out of?
So when I did it for the just kind of styled shoot, I threw together, and I also had another photographer friend. I was like, "Hey, just come and tag along." I go, "You can of course
Yeah.
have the photos for your stuff too," but I go, "Then we kind of bounce the ideas off of each other and just come up with poses to help me just kind of know what really works." So that was an awesome idea. But we did it at Studio One in Denver. But I believe what I'll be using the most is Kindle Co Studios here. That's I have one coming up on Monday. So I'll be
Okay.
using them there, and I haven't actually used them yet, so I'm very excited to get into using them, and I'm sure I'll be a regular client there. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
There's some really
but yeah.
cool spaces that like my shoots that I did in Fort Collins, like just really
Mm.
creative spaces that photographers can rent out too, which I think
Yeah,
is
I have done one. I think Cash Creative. I think me and
mm,
Jake's sister did some headshots there in Fort Collins last year, and it was a cool, small but very cute, pretty studio in Fort
yeah.
Collins. So yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
Well, what else is coming up in the world of Avery? And I mean, you're planning a wedding, so there's that
yes,
too, on top of
yes.
everything else.
Finally, right
Um,
under 11 months. So still far,
that's
but
exciting.
still, it's gonna
It'll be here
hopefully
before
be
you know
very
it.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Just I mean, just staying busy. I definitely am starting to you know veer away from doing promoting tons of families and stuff, but I still love doing families. So, I'm
Yeah.
sure once fall comes around, I'll be booking, Christmas fall photos for sure. But yeah, I'm trying to be more creative and a little bit more documentary style with my photos, just more movement, less posed, which I already don't feel like I was very on the posed side, but I just want you to look at my photos and you just feel them. And that's what makes you want to, you see a photo and then you want to, I want that. So yeah, just crazy busy this summer with weddings, elopements, and hopefully more boudoirs. But yes, I thought it'd be fun to grow the boudoir hopefully quicker by offering a discount to my brides. And then
Yeah.
same thing, I want them to feel comfortable with me, and another way to do it before their wedding or right after. Or the one I'm doing on Monday is I did their wedding in August last year, so they're it's going to be a 1 year anniversary. So
Oh,
continually working with brides, and I love that. So yeah.
that's so cute. I will say you do a great job at capturing movement because I hate posed photos. Again, somebody with body image issues, especially, like I just felt stiff and like it didn't reflect us
Yeah.
versus I mean the one on my wall we're posing with the sign, the Captain Jack sign, but that one is
Yes.
more
Yeah.
movement, but like
Well,
there's
not when you're
one.
supposed to be posed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But there's one where you told us to like look off in the distance, and I think RJ literally rolled his eyes at you because he can't look pensive to save his life. And
Yeah.
you caught like the funniest look on his face, and it's one of my favorite photos. Or I think
Yeah.
there's another one of us flipping each other off, like they're
Hilarious.
like it's
Yeah.
just us, and
Yeah. And
doing
y'all,
shots
I
of
was like, look
whiskey
at each
and
other, and y'all were like,
yeah.
you poke the tongues out. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you do a great job at that. So where
Thank
can
you.
people find you? Where's the best ways to get a hold of you?
Honestly, I get most of my inquiries from my website or Instagram. Of course, people follow me and message me. I'm super on the casual side. You don't, if you just find my Instagram, you don't have to go to my website. You can totally just message me. Quick to reply. But yeah, so just reach out. Even if, you have a crazy idea for a photo shoot that's nothing, you don't think it fits with any of my packages, reach out. I'm sure we can, make
We
it
are
work.
doing that witchy shoot this fall that we tried to
Yes,
do
yes,
last
we are. Because
fall.
now we'll have more time to plan it. So
Yes, we should talk about that soon because
yes, we
it'll be
should
here
actually.
before you know it.
Very soon. I know.
For those of you listening, we found like these really cool witch in the woods photos that a couple friends and I wanted to do.
Like
But
at dusk, dark
it was
outside.
so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
But between, my wedding and I think you were
Yes.
traveling right after my wedding,
Mhm.
we couldn't pull it off last year, but we'll have to make it happen this year
Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
So awesome. Well, anything else that you want to share about you, your business?
I don't think so. Just book with me if I sound like a good match. And yeah.
Yeah, I would
Not a
especially say business owners, if you're looking for headshots, branding shoots, if you're looking for regular photo shoots, social media managers, if you're looking for someone to take photos for your clients, because that is a huge struggle, is getting up-to-date photos for social media. You can only post the same photos so many times. I would highly suggest reaching out to Avery or working with her to create a package. But thank you, Avery. I appreciate you so, so much.
yes. Thank you,
I'm
Jen.
sure we'll do more photos soon because yeah,
Yes.
no, it's just I'm
Yes.
addicted, I guess. But for
Yes.
everyone listening, my name is Jen Hart, and this is your next business bestie. If you want to find out more about what I do as a creative strategist, or you're interested in being a guest on the podcast, you can reach me at jen@jensway.com or through Instagram, which is Life Jen's Way. And I will link all of Avery's website and social media in the show notes. So be sure to reach out to her to connect. And I will talk to you all next time on your next business bestie.
Yay. Thank you so much, Jen. Had so much fun.